If you'd like online business explained to you in a way that you can actually understand, go to latenightim.com/explain. It's completely free, and I made it just for you. Now, how about an episode? Episode 101.
Late Night Internet Marketing.
This week on the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast, we've got Andrew Hansen in the house, direct from London, England. He's going to tell us exactly what's going on with affiliate marketing in 2016 and what the most effective strategies are for making money today. All this and more on the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast.
The Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast.
You've been working for somebody else, but you want a business to run yourself. You want to know how to start and where to begin. Can you get out your comfort zone, my friend? Yes, you can do it right when it's late at night. At the end of the day, your dreams burning inside. So keep it up and you will find that you're building your business one night at a time.
And now, broadcasting late at night from a little studio in the big state of Texas, your host, Mark Mason.
Okay, how's everybody doing? I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day. Lots of exciting stuff going on in internet marketing. Episode 100 of the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast is out there in the wild. I hope you got to enjoy that with all my really close friends. I love those guys. They're so awesome. This week, I'm bringing you another one of my close friends. It's no secret, Andrew Hansen and I have been friends for a long time. He is one of the guys that got me started. Actually, when I was first starting in internet marketing, I hooked up with Andrew Hansen and was studying a lot of the stuff that he was teaching. I was also doing a lot of work with Josh Spalding, who now works for Jonathan Leger, who lives here in Dallas. Jonathan is the keyword canine guy, and Josh works for Jonathan now as his affiliate manager. These were the guys that influenced me. We all have these guys. Pat Flynn has people that influenced him. Cliff has people that influenced him. We've all learned from people who came before us. I'm sure you're no different. I hope I teach you a thing or two occasionally. That's my hope anyway. About every year, Andrew comes down with a new course. In 2014, Andrew had the Rankings Institute. I learned an enormous amount about search engine optimization from the Rankings Institute, a lot of which I have passed on to you here on the podcast. And now Andrew is back with another affiliate marketing course. Now, the last time Andrew taught affiliate marketing was about 2012, I think, with Forever Affiliate. That was a fantastic course. Now he's got a new course called Constant Profits Club. Now, these are not inexpensive courses. If you want to take a look, you can see it at latenightim.com/CPC for Constant Profits Club. The way these courses work is Andrew has them on sale for a few weeks. This one is on sale until about March 20th of 2016, just in case you're listening to this in the future. And then they close, and then the course runs for about 12 weeks. And oftentimes he doesn't do them again. Sometimes he does them twice, and then they're done, and then he's on to something else. They're not inexpensive, so be prepared for that. But every time this happens, I do two things. One is I take advantage of the fact that Andrew's trying to promote the course by bringing him on the show and extracting value out of him for you for free. That's what we're going to do today. I've got Andrew here, and he's going to talk to us about what's happening in affiliate marketing today and essentially the kinds of things that he's teaching in Constant Profits Club, CPC. So without further ado, let's get into the discussion with Andrew and see what he has to say about what's going on in affiliate marketing today.
Hey, don't touch that dial. It's time for another fantastic guest on the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast.
Okay, so Andrew Hansen coming, you're one of these location independent entrepreneurs, and last we spoke, you were within sight of the Thames River somewhere in London or something. Where are you exactly right now?
This is true. So right now I am in London, but you only just caught me. We came back from Australia a couple of weeks back. We still have family and friends there, and we went for Christmas to spend with the family. We ended up staying a couple of months there, which was really nice. We escaped the winter here. We were in the sun over there. It was happy times. So yeah, in London right now though.
So, and you've got the microhuman in tow now when you go internationally. It was a year old now, right? What's that been like?
He's a year old, yeah, and it was one of those big things where before we had him, everyone was like, "Oh, you guys have been traveling so much this last few years. Like, well, when you have the baby, I assume you'll have to kind of slow it down a bit and settle down." And people said it so many times, I got so frustrated by it. It kind of made me feel stubborn and like, oh yeah, I'm going to show them. We're going to do exactly what we did before we had the baby. And so, and I can't tell you whether this is a good decision or not yet. It's still developing, but in the first year of his life, we had something like 5 overseas voyages. So he flew 24 hours first from the UK back to Australia. A little after that, we flew him to the States, which is like 6 hours back and forth. Shortly after that, we flew him to Bali. We had a friend's wedding there, so he was in Bali. And then it was only 2 months after that we were back in Australia. So his whole first year was just travel and chaos. And I have to say that obviously it's hard. Traveling with kids isn't easy or fun for the most part, unless you're a Zen master. But it is nowhere near as difficult as people told us.
Yeah, I mean, this can be survived, right? I mean, it's different, right? It's way different, but it's
exactly.
It's totally doable. People do it all the time. So I saw pictures of this wedding in Bali that looked totally epic. Was Bali cool? I've never been there.
It was our first time there as well, actually, and without getting into a rant, personally, I felt that Bali was kind of overrated for what people had told me about it, especially if you've been to places that are a little bit similar, like nice beachside towns like in Asia, for example, where things are cheap and people are friendly and stuff like that. It was okay, but Bali itself to me was a bit overrated. But this wedding that we went to was absolutely unreal. Like, there was this cliff there was a villa that was perched on a cliff something like 100 meters above the ocean. So you looked out over this cliff, down a drop, and the ocean was there. Like a private beach with no one on it was there, and then the ocean was there. And they had they didn't spend anywhere near as much money as what you would have done if it was Australia or the US or somewhere else. But they had like a designer lay out the whole floor plan of it. They got married in a glass chapel. So there's this glass chapel that's sitting on a body of water that's on like a little pool that is on top of the cliff that is on top of the ocean. Like, I couldn't put words to describe how picturesque and ridiculous it was. But yeah, it was absolutely the best wedding that I probably will ever attend in my life.
It makes really great Facebook pictures too.
Oh my God. Yeah, there was a countless number of them.
Yeah. So everyone listening to this interview, as interesting as Bali is for everyone, to tie that back, all this international travel, of course, paid for by the internet marketing that you've been doing since, I guess I started following you in 2007, but it's been since 2005 or 2007, around in there, right?
Yeah, my very first beginning was 2005, but that year was mainly just losing money, really just failing, doing things poorly, and learning expensive lessons. And then 2006, actually a lot of 2006 was exactly the same. It was somewhere towards the middle of 2006 that some things kind of clicked for me, started coming into place, and then it grew from there. But yeah, that's what I've been doing ever since.
And so my listeners are very familiar with you. I think this might be your 4th time on the show. And the reason you're back today is because the reason I wanted to have you back is because you've got a new course coming out. We're going to talk about that. But what I wanted to do was extract a couple of things. There's a reason for this course. It's different than anything you've ever done before, and it represents some really, maybe at least a couple of really important insights that you have had. And the first one that I wanted to talk about, and I'm going to ask you some questions about, is I know one of the challenges that you have had and I've had, because I've been in most of these courses with you trying to help people get along, is that people pay for internet marketing courses. You just mentioned it, especially new people, they spend money and they're looking for results. And most of the people that call me and talk to me personally, they're looking for results quickly because they need to get a return on their investment. And that's over the years, that's been at odds with building a sustainable business, because building businesses on the internet that are sustainable in general takes time. There's all kinds of get rich quick things that come and go, but the real businesses, the ones that last for years, they take time to build. And so there's always been this tension between, hey, I just spent all this money on this course, and hey, when am I going to see results? And so this new thing that you're building relieves some of that tension. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, well, you summed up the problem pretty well, perfectly. Like, it had been frustrating me when I was doing coaching programs with people for probably 3 years from when I first had this feeling, that I would tell people, like, look, if you finish this set of steps and if you get your site to this point, there's not really many ways that it can't make money. It must be profitable if you finish those set of steps. And to finish that set of steps, you need a little bit of patience. So, like, if you want to do this properly, you can't use that set of techniques. You have to use this set of techniques. And what that means is that you're not going to make money in the first couple of weeks. Really, for this to get up and establish itself, it might be a couple of months. It might be 3 months. It might be even longer. And I told people, like, just be at peace with that from the beginning. And if you can just be patient and just keep following the steps for that few months until you cross this tipping point, then things will take off, and you'll forget that 3 months ever happened. It will be insignificant in your memory. But the problem was, I can tell people that, but it's just really hard to do. Like, just like you said, when you've invested the money and you really want to make this thing work, and you see other people achieving certain results, it's so hard to keep going forward with something when it appears on the surface that there's no progress being made, because in your mind, progress equals money. So if you're not making $1 from the first couple of weeks, you're not making progress. That's what people think anyway. So I got to the point where I thought, like, there's got to be a different solution. I have to be able to do something better than just tell people to be patient. And I should have appreciated it sooner, because I am the most impatient person that there is, and I understand that feeling as well as anyone possibly can. And then there was me telling people, hey, just be more patient, and it will be fine. It will work out for you. So at some point I started thinking, like, what else could there be? How else could we put a business model together where people didn't have to wait to see they didn't have to wait that first couple of months to see their first income? What if they could start earning income straight off the bat, but do so in a way that was legitimate and that is real, and that actually leads them in the direction of being able to build a really high quality, really long lasting business that will earn them income for years into the future? And that's kind of what this course is about. Yeah.
So I think one of the other kind of things that goes with this is there's also pressure coming from another direction, right? And that is that where at one point, I call it the wild, wild west of the internet, it really was possible to put a website up overnight tonight and make money tomorrow, sort of. And while there are still some things you can do maybe with paid traffic to do that, doing that with organic search and sustainable stuff is gotten, it's different now, right?
Yeah. Well, these two goals are fundamentally at odds. That's what people need to understand. Like, the things you need to do to, let's say, create an income stream in the next week are a totally different set of things to the set of things that might build you a $10,000 a month business by the end of this year. they're just different. Just like you said before, real businesses don't make money from day one. I was using this example before, like think of anyone you know who's wealthy from business. So think about like Mark Zuckerberg. Did Facebook make money from day one? Did Facebook make money online fast?
No, absolutely not.
Obviously it didn't. And often the biggest businesses take years before they turn a profit. That's a whole nother conversation. But the point is that those two goals are opposed. And so any time that you spend pursuing one of those strategies that is designed to make money as quickly as possible, even when it works, and 98% of the time it doesn't, because those strategies are just scams. They're created by crazy people who are trying to take your money. Even when it does work, it's only ever going to be a short-term solution. It's not the same thing that's going to build you an income that works for the future, that grows over time, because it can't possibly be. It has to be short-term. It has to be fly-by-night. Otherwise, you wouldn't make money with it quickly.
Now, you threw out a number that's a very popular number, and I want to ask you about that number. A lot of people carry around the number that you threw out, which is $10,000 a month. It's a nice round number, and it results in a 6-figure per year income. And I know a lot of people that are listening to this show, they're having trouble imagining $100 a month, much less $10,000 a month. And so my question for you is that still real? Can you really, with affiliate marketing, can you really still do that even in 2016? Is that something that can be achieved?
It is something that can be achieved, yeah, and we're seeing it more and more from the last group of people who I've taken through my strategies. It's funny, they've kept coming out of the woodworks. I probably don't do enough to follow up with people who go through our programs and check in with where they're at. And I put a little bit of the blame on them as well, because they don't always contact me when they're doing really well. When at the beginning they need the most help, and they're always in contact, and then when they start doing incredibly well, I never hear from them. So
that's right. Yeah,
that's a challenge for me as well. But it is possible. But to talk to the people who you are mentioning or who you're describing, the reality is, something a lot of people don't realize is that very few of us actually need $10,000 a month. All right, for most of us, the things that we want to do in life, the things that are important to us, and the kind of life that we would like to lead, doesn't require anywhere near $120,000 a year. So I love talking about the capacity to make smaller amounts of money. Like in the webinar that we'll probably talk about shortly, there's 3 or 4 people who got within a relatively short period of time to the level of kind of $2,000 a month and beyond. And even for them, they talk about how it's totally changed their life. Like there's this guy called Nathan, and I found out again in the similar circumstances. He asked me a random question by email, and I decided to check in with him and asked how he was going. And he said his site's up to, I think it's $2,500 a month at the moment. He's mainly using Amazon affiliate program, and I think one other. But he was saying how like this just totally changed his world. Like suddenly he has all this additional time on his hands. He talked about this great vacation that he was able to take his wife on for in Europe, I think it was, and it reminded me of this point that like $10,000 a month is great, and it is a nice round number, and it is a nice goal, but life can completely change with a whole lot less money than that. So I'm really into the idea of getting people to that lower milestone. But the cool thing is the same principles apply. The thing that gets you to $2,000 a month with a site, getting to $10,000 a month for most people is only doing more of that same thing, or finding a way to automate some of the processes that got you to that point, or finding new ways to do what you did with the content on that site, new ways to promote the same things that you promoted, other things that you can promote to the same group of people. From $2,000 to $10,000 a month, it's usually just scaling and strategy stuff rather than all the hard work it took you to go from 0 to 2,000.
Yeah, it's a really good point. Especially, I know a lot of people that listen to this show, they're trying to build internet businesses alongside their existing job, which is generating money. And in those contexts, boy, $2,000 a month is an enormous amount of additional money that can be used to pay down debt or pay medical bills or buy cars or whatever it is, take vacations, whatever it is that really, kind of puts you over the edge, gets you to the next level sort of from a lifestyle perspective.
Absolutely. And especially and crucially when you don't have to spend all of your time on it. Like if you work 8 hours a day and you can generate $2,000 a month and it takes you like an hour a day after work in the evenings, like that really is game changing.
That sounds like late night internet marketing.
It sounds very much like that. You should trademark that.
Yeah, I should. Hey, okay, so I have an incredibly embarrassing, funny question to ask you. I'm going to reveal something about you that few people know, and I want you to,
oh boy.
And I'm going to ask it in the context of internet marketing, and then I want you to tell me, I want you to answer this question. It is a true fact, I know this for a fact, that you used to have at least one website selling hemorrhoid cream. True or false?
Yep,
true.
Definitely true.
Absolutely true. What has
definitely true?
What has changed? See that now you're outed, right? What has changed since you were promoting these single product, kind of hemorrhoid cream solution landing pages to what is really working and is super effective now?
In a way, I'm not glad that you brought up the subject of hemorrhoids, which I should make the disclaimer I have no experience with or knowledge of.
So you, just to be clear, you went into the hemorrhoid niche that wasn't like out of necessity.
Mark, I decline to say on this occasion. But I'm glad you brought it up in the sense that it's interesting to me because despite the fact that a lot has changed since the time when I was making small sites that promoted individual products like hemorrhoid creams, hemorrhoid cream itself, and even affiliates who promote hemorrhoid cream, I would be very doubtful. In fact, it's almost impossible that those people are making less money than they did back then. All that's different is that it's a different group of people making the money. People didn't stop looking for hemorrhoid cream. That's part one. People, I love how much we're talking about hemorrhoid cream now. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
People didn't stop buying hemorrhoid cream. That's two. Again, not me, just other people. For three, they didn't stop searching for hemorrhoid cream, and the price of hemorrhoid cream didn't change. And not even that, they didn't stop looking for reviews of hemorrhoid cream. They didn't stop needing the information that they might need in order to make or to decide whether a certain hemorrhoid cream is for them. None of those factors have changed. What changed is which people now are able to service the need that those the hemorrhoid cream people have, right? So where previously it was people like me who used to make these tiny mini sites and be really clever and aggressive with our link building to be able to inflate our search engine rankings, those people used to dominate that space. And honestly, in some of those, in certain spaces like this, some of that stuff does still exist. Some of those guys still do okay. But it's extremely up and down, and you wouldn't want to follow that business model anymore. But somebody still does make money serving those people. It's just different. So now, typically it's people who are more authoritative in their markets. It's bigger sites. Somebody still writes the reviews, but now because trust is so much bigger a factor for Google, who they decide is trustworthy enough to supply the information on those hemorrhoid creams to their searchers is different. And that to me is the biggest change for content marketers and SEO people probably in the last 5 years.
So, previously we might have sold products like hemorrhoid cream in a 3 or 5 page site. Now these things that you're calling authority sites, and I know this varies all over the place, but what sort of page counts are you talking about? Are these 10-page sites, 50-page sites, 100-page sites?
We could talk about what's needed to rank in any particular market, but it's tricky without specifying some market because it varies from every one to the next. But in a sense, the way I like to look at this is that it's not as much about the size of the website. It's about the approach of the website. So one of the things is, rather than having a site that just provides people with product reviews, really successful sites now look outside of that, and they look at their audience more broadly, and they say, here's a group of people that has hemorrhoids. What do they really need? Like, what full set of things do they need? Sure, maybe some of them are looking for these creams, and so that's the thing that they most need. But chances are it's a big group of people. There's a lot of different things that they need. There's at various times they're searching for different kinds of information, the products, and the people who build sites thinking in that way, like thinking about their audience more holistically, are consistently being more successful I went to say in search, but really more successful on the internet, period, because it's those people who have the potential to capitalize on new forms of traffic. It's those people who have the potential to, even just in the search engines, rank for so many more keywords, to bring traffic from different places, to diversify their sources of revenue more broadly, and as a result of that, be much more strong, be much more like be better placed to last in their market for longer, and ultimately make more money.
Okay, so that's pretty clear. So I know, because I've had a peek at this product that's coming, that these new evolving revelations are at the core of what you're going to be teaching this time. And I know you're going to have a webinar. And the question that I want to ask is, should people attend the webinar even if they have absolutely no intention of buying anything? Is there going to be real content for people in the webinar? And maybe you can take us through what you plan to cover, when the webinar is, and what's going on behind it.
If you're looking for entertainment, there's YouTube videos that are much funnier than I'll be on this webinar. But if you're asking, will people get content? The answer is definitely yes.
Yeah, that's definitely what I was asking. Is what's the content of this webinar?
So what I'm going to try to do in the 60 minutes that we have for this presentation is to break down this set of steps. Sarah and I put our heads together and came up with this set of steps, 3 to be precise, that can allow somebody to go to make their first income legitimately and in a repeatable fashion from pretty much the moment the webinar is finished. And you'll see on the webinar there's a lady who did this. She made her first $1 3 hours after the webinar. It took her 3 hours of trying, and she had generated real money in her bank account. So that's a real thing that's happened. That's possible for people, and that's the first step in the process. We're going to try to show you in as much detail as I can how people have done that and how you could do it. The next step, they're going to look at how they can take that income and take the things, crucially, that they learned in generating that income and turn it into a passive income. So how they can just make their first bit of income that they didn't have to work for. And that comes by selling stuff and selling something of other people's and earning a commission. From there, they're going to see how to take the passive income and turn it into a lasting income, how to take it to something that over the course of a year can build up to that figure of $10,000 a month. And each of those steps has in it a strategy. So for each step, I'm going to try to show you the strategy that people used in order to do that. So some of the cool content things on there, I'm going to show people a really cool tool that's extremely underused, a website actually, for finding really high-end products that they can promote. I've not seen anyone else in internet marketing talk about this particular tool, and I'm actually going to find a product using that tool live on the screen, dig out the affiliate program, do some research on it, and show you exactly the process of how I do that, which is really quite different. I'm not talking about Amazon or ClickBank or Commission Junction or anything like that, like something totally different outside of that. And then the third step, I guess I'll give it away. There's a guy who, you're talking about quality sites and doing really incredible things. There's a guy who I emailed a couple of months back, found out that who'd taken my last program, and he'd been working on his site all through 2015. I found out that he's now making $24,000 a month from his 30-page website.
This is a Rankings Institute guy or a Forever Affiliate guy?
Rankings Institute guy, yeah.
$24,000 a month.
Yeah, not kidding. The screenshots will be in the presentation, and more importantly, some of the email exchange I had with him will be in the presentation, which is most exciting because it talks about how it's actually impacted his life, and he's got a really cool story. But the reason I'm showing that is I'm going to talk about some of the things that he did with this site, and like how a 30-page website could make that amount of money. It's an authoritative site. It's an incredible site, and he's done really well with it, but it still is only 30 pages. It's still a WordPress blog. It's still selling stuff as an affiliate. But some of the things that he did, namely in finding the products that he promotes on that site and finding the keywords that he used to target those products, and that he did with his backlinking strategy, I'm going to try to break down on that webinar to help people understand exactly what's working for getting quick traffic to those like high commission, high income products, so that people can kind of replicate that in their own businesses.
Okay, I'm sold based on that. So, when is this webinar, and how can we sign up?
Yeah, so it'll be on the 8th of March. It's going to be at 5 p.m. Eastern. I think it's latenightIM.com/CPC. Is that what you said?
That's exactly right. latenightIM.com/CPC, which stands for Constant Profits Club, which is the name of the product. And I think, the name, and the reason for that name is there really is this process where you can get in, and if you need to make $1 in the next 24 hours, that's actually possible. And then, and then that you can go forward from there and grow your business from that point.
That's exactly it. That was the thinking behind the name. Yeah. So that link will get you registered at for the webinar. You'll be able to come along, and we really want to try to provide as much value as we can on this live session. And I really prefer to interact with people and have them asking questions, because it does something totally different for your learning of the material and your inclination to actually do something with it.
Well, very good, sir. So we'll see you there. I will be there on the webinar, latenightIM.com/CPC. I'm really looking forward to it. One last thing. I don't know much about Sarah Young, and we didn't really cover this in the beginning, but she's your partner on this product. I've seen some of her material. I did a little research on her prior to the show, but maybe you could give me a little and give the listeners a little background about how you know Sarah and what her expertise is, and why you're excited about having her on the team.
Yeah, so it's hard to know where to start in telling Sarah's story, but for those who don't know her, she got into internet marketing, building businesses online as a mother of 7 children. So she's got a big family, and she, as you can imagine, and Mark's almost got 7, so he probably can imagine this.
I only
don't
have
a lot of
4,
spare time.
for the record, I only have 4, so not 7.
But we'll see what happens in the next few years, right? Like, we never know. Don't rule anything out.
I think I figured out what's causing it, so I think I'm okay.
Got it. Anyway, so she got started as a person that really didn't have very much time on her hands. And as a result of that, she came upon a set of strategies for people who do have that really urgent need to get up and making money quickly. And not only that, but for people who, even after the fact, just don't have the large number of hours in the day. She's developed a lot of strategies that are trying to answer the problem of how can you make as much money as possible when you don't have a lot of time to spend. So her background has a lot of different parts, but the cool thing is that when we started talking about the methods that we were using ourselves and that we were teaching our students, we saw that there was this incredible confluence where if we put some of these things together, if we combine some of the things that each other were already doing, having success with, and that our students were having success with, this kind of alchemy took place, and there was something that came out the other side that was greater than the sum of the parts. And it's that is in the 3-step process that we've put together, and that we'll be talking about on the webinar on March 8th. So yeah, I certainly encourage people to come along. Sarah will be there on that webinar, so you'll get the chance to talk to her and ask her questions as well. And you'll basically be getting the sum of our knowledge. She's been doing it for 9 years. I've been doing this for 10 years this year. There's a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge there, and we've tried to cram as much of it as we can into this presentation.
Well, congratulations on your 10-year anniversary online. That's very exciting. Mine's coming up next year. I'm excited about that as well. And it's been quite a journey. I'm really looking forward to CPC because I've committed to building a site kind of in front of my audience this year. And so I'll be using a lot of those CPC kind of thinking and methodologies and stuff this year, and we'll see how that goes as well. So it's kind of exciting for me too.
That is exciting. I'll be very interested to see how that plays out.
Okay, sir. Well, thank you very much. We really appreciate it. You have an absolutely fantastic day, man.
Thanks for having me, Mark. It's always a pleasure.
Awesome. Thanks. Okay, so if you've checked out that link, you'll know that by the time I finally got that interview on the air, the webinar had already come and gone. But the replay of the webinar is available at that link, latenitim.com/CPC. And if you go to that link right now, you'll either find the download for the webinar, if it's still available, which I hope it is for you, because it's an excellent webinar full of exciting and motivational information, or you'll find the sales page to the course, or you'll find that the course is closed. One of those three things. It doesn't really matter which. If you're excited about affiliate marketing, I can tell you this is a fantastic course. I've already been through most of the material. Now, if you're not, that's fine too. You should watch the webinar just because there's so much interesting information about success stories that Andrew's observed and what it takes to build a successful affiliate site these days. There's also information in there, and this is one of the things that I'm most excited about how, if you need money today, how to make money right now today. That's not get rich quick stuff. It's how to do work and make actual money today, how you could do that maybe even by this afternoon. I'm not talking about hundreds of dollars by this afternoon, but you could really start a new business and be making actual money, actual cash that you could have in your hand by this afternoon. So check that out at latenitim.com/CPC, and I will see you soon.
You can do it right when it's late at night.
You've been listening to the Late Night Internet Marketing Podcast.
Be sure to visit latenightpodcast.com today to leave feedback for Mark. Download special bonus content, access the show notes, and more. See you there.
Until then, go and make some great progress on your internet business. One night at a time.
One night at a time.
So I bet you didn't expect me to pull out the hemorrhoid cream, did you?
Well played, mate.
Yeah, very good.
I thought it was going to be worse, actually. I had no idea where that was going.
No, I have worse, but that's for later.
Late night internet marketing.
Hey, it's Mark again. I wanted to tell you one more time about this absolutely free resource that I have for helping people who are trying to get the big picture for internet marketing, actually get started and understand what all their choices are. If that's not you, there's no more content. You can skip to the end. But if you're someone who came to this podcast because you're searching for how to get started online and you just can't cut through all the noise, I get it. That was me in 2007 when I was trying to get started. There were so many people throwing offers at me that I really couldn't even understand what all the different business models were. I couldn't understand how money moved around on the internet. And I couldn't really get a grip on what direction I wanted to go in so I could figure out how to move forward. I've created a free video resource for you just for that purpose at latenitim.com/explain. In several short videos, I just explained to you what internet marketing is all about and what online business is all about and the different options that you have for starting an online business. There's nothing to buy there. You just sign up for access and you get the videos just like that. So if that's interesting to you, or if you know someone who's in a same situation, send them that link, latenitim.com/explain. And let me know what you think. I'd love to hear what people are thinking that are in the exact same position that I was in more than a decade ago in 2007. In some ways, it seems like yesterday. And in some ways, it seems like an entire lifetime ago. Again, that's latenitim.com/explain.
Late night internet marketing.